Christoph Strasser, Germany's Human Rights Commissioner, and a number of his advisors, along with Dr. Sayed Mustafa Azmayesh, the head of the International Organization to Preserve Human Rights in Iran, with a number of delegates of his organization, all had a meeting at the parliament in Germany and discussed the unjust actions towards 4 Ghanabadi dervishes in Iran. This meeting was held following the illegal exile sentences of 4 Ghanabadi dervishes from the city of Kavar to various other cities in Iran, who were falsely charged with war and violence. It is worth noting that on Monday the 6th of April 2015, the Revolutionary Court in the city of Shiraz sentenced these 4 dervishes, and their exile sentences were carried out soon. Daryush Pirniakan, a renowned Iranian musician, defended the House of Music for their activities during the past year and said that it is important to know that the House of Music has not got any protection system and are only able to express their objections through issuance of various statements. Mr. Pirniakan added that, "I can confidently say that our efforts during the past year in attempting to deal with the illegal encounters towards Iranian artists and musicians have exceeded our expectations." During the past week, Hossein Ronaghi's father wrote a letter to Tehran's prosecutor and called for an immediate investigation into his son's medical condition inside of the prison. Hossein Ronaghi, a political prisoner and a human rights activist, suffered from a kidney failure due to medical negligence. He is currently being held in the Evin prison and being deprived of treatments and his medications. On Monday the 6th of April 2015, Nasrin Sotoudeh, a lawyer, said that "I think opponents and critics of the regime should prepare themselves for worse days to come, because there are so many extremist groups in the government, and when they want to get a point across, they use the excuse that no change is taking place in the country in order to put their opponents and critics under a lot of pressure." During the past week, the head of Information and International Department of the Interior denied the National Security Council's approval regarding the participation of women in sports stadiums. It should be noted that last week, in an interview with IRNA, the Ministry of Youth and Sports had announced the approval of the National Security Council regarding the participation of women in some sports halls. Furthermore, Atena Daimi, a civil and children's rights activist, is still in a limbo of uncertainty after being on a temporary detention for over 6 months. Atena Daimi was arrested at her house on the 21st of October in 2014 and was accused of propaganda against the regime, acting against national security, and insulting the supreme leader and religious sanctities. As a result, she was kept in solitary confinement for over 3 months. Iran's Vice President for Women and Family Affairs pointed out the discrimination against the female gender in governmental employments. On Friday the 3rd of April 2015, Behnam Ebrahimzadeh, an imprisoned labor and children's rights activist, was transferred to Section 2 of the Rajai Shah prison, also known as the House of Quran. This political prisoner has been imprisoned for the past 5 years in this prison. His imprisonment first began in 2010 after he was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. However, following the opening of a new court case against him, last year he was sentenced to an additional 9.5 years in prison. Furthermore, on Saturday the 4th of April 2015, Amir Qaimi, who was arrested with drug-related charges, had his death sentence carried out in the Zabul prison. Last week, police arrested 19 citizens from the city of Mashhad on charges of gambling. Furthermore, the Khuzestan Province Staff Secretary for Special Offences referred to the murdering of 3 police officers in a shooting incident and announced that the judiciary system will follow up on this matter very firmly and will certainly issue an appropriate punishment for the perpetrators of this crime. In mid-August of 2014, a worker was beaten to death by construction workers of the Tehran municipality. Abolfazl Cheraghi, the son of the murdered victim, was also recently attacked by construction workers of the Ma'bar Dam Construction Company. This incident occurred while Mr. Abolfazl Cheraghi was selling fruits and vegetables near his house, but with the involvement of the local residents, shopkeepers and officials, he was able to flee from the scene of the conflict. Furthermore, on the 7th of April 2015, the prison cells of political prisoners in the Evin prison were once again attacked by a number of security officials with the excuse of carrying out inspections. Omid Kokabi, a PhD student in nuclear physics from the University of Texas, was transferred to the solitary confinement following an inspection of his prison cell.
On Sunday the 5th of April 2015, relatives of 2 imprisoned Kurdish civil and political activists said that despite the fact that 2 months has passed since the arrest of Hojzar Mahmoud Azar from the city of Me'abad, and 20 days has passed since the arrest of Mokhtar Zarei from the city of Sanandaj, there is still no information available regarding their whereabouts. A Baha'i citizen by the name of Mehran Eslami from the city of Yazd introduced himself to the Yazd prison in order to serve his imprisonment sentence. Reportedly, Mehran Eslami had initially introduced himself to the prison in February of 2014, but due to an illness, his imprisonment sentence was delayed until this week. During the past week, 4 Gonabadi dervishes were sentenced by the Kovar Revolutionary Court to be exiled from the city of Kovar to various other cities. The public cemetery officials of the city of Tabriz refused the burial of a Baha'i citizen. As a result, they buried this Baha'i citizen in a different city without informing his family. Furthermore, on Monday the 6th of April, Farah Naz Misaghian was transferred to prison in order to serve her 1-year imprisonment sentence. The Ministry of Information and Communication Technology announced that the 3rd phase of the intelligent filtering system of the current year is being implemented. After the Mizan News Agency published Mr. Pour Mohammadi's written condolences for the death of the mother of Mohammad Khatami, one of Iran's former presidents, the condolence was removed, and in addition, the Secretary of the Department of Justice of this news agency was fired. After the publication of the news regarding the former editor of the ISCA news agency applying for asylum, a reporter of this news agency was summoned and interrogated by the Ministry of Intelligence. Despite the critical health condition of Mohammad Amin Aghoshi, the military public prosecutor of Zahedan rejected his right to go on leave. Furthermore, the Director General of the Prison Services in Iran announced that a special drug-related prisoners camp will be launched shortly. Mostafa Eskandari, Khaled Hardani and Saeed Abedini were recently transferred to solitary confinement. civil rights activist Saeed Jafari, known as Rahim, was summoned to the Revolutionary Court of the city of Gonbade Kavus. According to reports, after a change of the president of the Mahabad prison, prisoners are facing increasing pressures and their rights have been violated more than ever before. Majid Moghadam, a political prisoner who started a hunger strike, was transferred to the solitary confinement in Section 240 of Evin Prison.